Hello, everybody, and welcome to Industry Spotlight with Creative First. Our guest today is Dileep Singh Rathod. He is a well known producer and production expert in the Indian and South Asian region with over 30 years of international filmmaking experience handling international feature projects, award winning documentaries, commercials, and high end still projects around the world. In 1996, Dileep set up On the Road India, a production company servicing international projects filming in India and South Asia. In 2000, he moved to the United States to set up Los Angeles-based production company Kundalini Pictures LLC in partnership with award-winning director Digvijay Singh. He has been involved with several international projects like Christopher Nolan's latest film Tenet, Shantaram series for Paramount Studios and Apple TV, Lily the Witch, Journey to Mandolin for Disney, Germany, Point Break London Has Fallen, and Heartbeats, among others. Dileep has also been invited to share his expertise at international panels such as the American Film Market, Indian Film Festival of Los Angeles, Screen Producers Australia, and the Locations Expo hosted by the Association of Film Commissioners International. He has a Master of Arts in History, Politics, and Economics from the University of Rajasthan, and he divides his time between Los Angeles, Europe, Mumbai, and Jaipur. Personally, Dileep, we have worked together for 10 years. I think you've been the biggest voice for promoting filming in India. So thank you so much for this interview with Creative First.
Thank you. Really appreciate this. It was quite an introduction.
Dileep, your focus for the last 2.5 decades has been to enable production of international films in the South Asian region. While starting out, what inspired the first steps on this long journey?
Yeah, it's quite a long journey, actually. Interesting question. I never thought that I will be in the film industry or sitting here in Los Angeles and working with the big studios and a lot of production people in Bombay. I'm from Rajasthan, as you have introduced, but I was fortunate enough to, introduce the film production because a lot of films were coming to Rajasthan, and still Rajasthan is a very popular location. And one of such film was Far Pavilions, where they came and shooting in Rajasthan, and we were taken from a school to as the frontliners to be part of the film shooting. And I loved it because you have wear great costumes and free beautiful lunch and per diems and stuff. And while doing, I said, man, this is great that I want to be in films. And similarly, there was a film called Deceivers. So I did Far Pavilions and Queenie and all of that, and then did Deceivers. Deceivers was P.S. Brosnan's film, shot in Rajasthan and Agra and UP, in Panna and all these places. And one of the actors was Mr. Shashi Kapoor. And of course, we grew up watching Shashi Kapoor, great actor and stuff. And we became friends. And he was on the film. And while doing Deceivers, after that, he was starting his film called Ajuba. So I give all the credit to Mr. Shashi Kapoor to bring me from Rajasthan to Bombay. And Ajuba was an Indo-Russian co-production. So I thought, okay, I got my summer holidays or what. I was still studying. I was still just graduating from the school, getting into college. And I said, okay, let me, do a little film. I'll go to Bombay and stuff. I never thought I'll be taken to Russia, but then he took me to Russia. We shot in Russia at different locations. And that's the time I realized, man, this is the best way to see the world. And I got very excited with the creative process, like how the film is put together. Because earlier it was more fun, like you do a little film so I had no formal training as per se, doing films and stuff, but working on these international projects. And so my introduction was straight away with all the international projects. So I was Queenie, because I was happened to be in Rajasthan. They were shooting in Rajasthan, then Deceivers and Far Pavilions and all that, and then got the chance to be on this international film with Mr. Shashi Kapoor. And so that was the turning point, and that's where I realized that, okay, I want to be in the films. And film was shot between Russia and Bombay. So I spent a lot of time in Bombay, and then I realized, okay, this is what I have to do. I'm not from the film background. My family is not from the film background. I would have taken some government service or played some polo or do something else. But, I started films. So this was, and I think it's been a magnificent journey from there on to work on great projects and great filmmakers like Mr. Nolan and Peter Weir and all these kind of great people. And then I started like, staying in Bombay and doing a little bit of modeling and, being in front of the camera and behind the camera kind of stuff. But I realized that, okay, I want to be producing. I want to like be able to like, physical production of the film is what attracted more, to put everything together. That how, those most difficult things can be, because we go for a cinema and see this great stunt or shooting in the middle of the Times Square or whatever. It looks very easy, and we don't think about what all goes behind making that thing happen. Like even for Tenet, when we were shooting, like shooting in Bombay, like first time, like government, with great government support, we could like, do a great scene at Gate of India or behind Taj near Leopold Cafe, like stopping all the traffic, diverting the traffic, and how all these things happen. That fascinates me. And yeah, and it's been a quite interesting journey, and here we are.
Dilip, in the early days, what did you feel presented this region as appealing, and how has that attraction evolved or changed over the years? And also in certain instances when we're not only talking about a script that that makes India that important. What about the locations? What's your experience in that regard?
Yeah, filmmaking is like, a lot of course, location filmmaking is like you go to different part of the world and different location, and there are many reasons you go to different part of the world or different locations, even in the country. And most appealing is first, of course, like everybody says, is of course the script, and we take the where the story is taking us or whatever. And then it is how exotic it is, because a lot of filmmakers take creative licenses, like showing great thing on the screen, and people get interested in those things. It's been also a thing you go for, to what the country offers you. Is it easy to shoot? Are there any incentives? What are the crew base? Can we shoot the film? Even a small thing like having proper hotels. The location's great, but there's no infrastructure, and like where were you going to keep your crew or whatever. So all these elements are very important for a filmmaking, that why the film go to a certain country and not to the other country. So it's the different, of course, the script, but apart from the script, the ease of shooting, ease of doing business in that region, as a country or a state or whatever the place you're going for shooting, is that how well you can keep the crew, how easy for your transportation, how you can reach the location. Are the hospital, like we were doing Indiana Jones, which unfortunately didn't happen. I'm like huge production coming down a place like Jaisalmer. The most important thing what we were looking for is are there enough good hospitals? Like if anything happens while you're doing the stunts or whatever, are there good hospital to cater if there's anything happens? Can we take care of the crew? So all these things are very important for like making the film where they want to go, or like then people decide, okay, it's not feasible, then though the location is great, or maybe the script talks about that place, but then you don't go to that place because it's not viable.
On that note, there has been, I mean, we're still in the pandemic, and it's basically still kind of halting or delaying productions. What are your views regarding risk assessment and establishing safety protocols? I mean, is there any disparity? Can India learn something from that?
It's a very new thing. When it just like, I just remember 2019, we were shooting for Tenet in Bombay. We had a crew of like 15 to 1600 people on the shooting days, and there was no problem. There was no segregation, that how crew were mingling around, and there were like no COVID restrictions and stuff. And cut to 2020, we had COVID, and the whole world was like scrambling for finding how best to do the business. And mostly the production was shut down. Slowly the production opened up, and there were very strict guidelines from international, because unfortunately I didn't do any Indian project that time. But we were, as I said, we were very much involved with Indiana Jones. And we had very strict guidelines, like we were like testing people twice a week. For COVID, we were like making sure that people are at least got the first vaccination dose. That was the biggest thing, because they're just starting. Even the drivers we were using, and we were scouting. Normally we use the local drivers, they can go home and stuff. We were keeping the drivers in hotels, which was like, even the local people, once you joined the production, you were like put in a bubble. So you can't go home. Everybody's in a hotel. Everybody's keeping the mask. Everybody's getting tested. Everybody, even when you're traveling and stuff. So it became very kind of a task. And of course, a lot of health and safety people got involved, and the job was to make sure that, we follow those protocols. People are not coming on the set. And we learned a lot, like everybody learned it. Even for the international film production, it was a new thing, not that they knew about it, how to do it. So they were also learning, and all the information was passed on to production, people to people kind of stuff. And, now when there's no COVID, people are getting a little relaxed, but I was doing just earlier this year, shooting for Shantram, and we still had to follow the same kind of protocol. We still were testing our crew, our extras, making sure that our drivers are tested twice a week. So of course, everybody learned from each other. International production went on to do films, in COVID also. So whatever information and whatever system they put in place, we were learning, and of course, information and all these were passed on to each other. And now I'm like, we definitely learned from those production. India then did very well. People were like shooting in India as well. They're going abroad, and it was easier for a lot of Indian production to like pack everybody and go to international location and keep everybody together in a hotel and shoot the film. So it was quite challenging, and we all learned. We still are learning, but I think it's like a lot of things has been relaxed because this COVID is still there. People, a lot of for international projects, we still keep the same kind of protocol. Even like I'm having a lot of studio meetings here, like we go with the mask and stuff, and then you sit down and then you take your mask off or whatever, but while you're traveling or whatever. So we have to follow these protocols, and we learn from each other, and as start to learn with COVID and that kind of shooting in the COVID times.
So Dileep, as you know, India has just launched its federal incentives. Just planning for the future, in your opinion, how has government incentives changed over time?
I always say this foremost thing is how the country is welcoming international productions or helping, the production, whether like it's incentives with the money or making ease of doing business or getting clearance and stuff. I've been working for last 30 years in this industry, and I've seen how the things have changed. Earlier, it was not an organized sector. Like people were like run and gun. You go to a certain place, you have to take a permission, or you don't have to take a permission, or you shoot without a permission, and suddenly you have a problem. And then who do you go to and stuff? From there on to INB ministry, like really organizing it, particularly in India, and saying that, look, it's a big industry. Any big film coming down to the country to shoot comes with a bag full of money. They need some facilities. They need, ease of doing business. They need clearances. And of course, like, international films coming down India, they all keep in mind this FCPA, Foreign Corrupt Practice Act. We can't pay bribes. We can't, do things which are not allowed to do. The biggest example was like the film Beach, which was shot in Thailand, and they shot without the permission, and then studio had to pay a lot of fine because of that. So the people are very, very about coming to India and Southeast Asia kind of reason that, okay, what are the facilities government is giving, how easy the process is. So of course, we just launched the incentive program in Cannes this year, which is a very good start, the first baby step, I think. Because for a big studio film, they need bigger incentives. But it's a very good start. It's very good for all the independent films, smaller films, to avail that kind of and also it's like kind of a government skin in the game. Like when somebody is coming for a co-production, and also, so government is involved with that. They are giving incentive money-wise, clearance-wise, and acknowledging that the film is here to shoot, and they are the partners in that. So I think it's very encouraging for the film producers all around the world to come to India. Also for the local film producers, like there are a lot of state incentives, like UP has it, and Rajasthan announced very recently, and Goa has it, and a lot of Gujarat and all of that. So it's very encouraging for a local as well as the international film producer that they know that government is supporting them. The long way to go though. I mean, has to be large incentives to bring bigger international Hollywood projects to India to shoot because they come with a larger budgets, larger crews, and also expect larger involvement with the government and incentives. But I think it's a very good start, and it's very important that government keep doing these things and making it ease and welcoming, filmmakers by giving incentives.
Yes, and I think you will agree that the current incentive plan at least encourages a lot of independent productions to shoot in India.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm like,
And the only reason we're saying that you need to really expand on that incentive, or rather, kind of make the film facilitation office more cooperative, is because when, like you said earlier, it's all about ease of doing filming, and also there are certain locations you would agree, like Vancouver, for example. It does not market itself that I'm Vancouver, I'm in Canada. It says Vancouver can be anything in the world. And if we're talking about India becoming content hub of the world with such amazing locales, we'll have to kind of also focus on the fact that we can be anything. You can shoot Hawaii, for example, in India, or any exotic location the world can happen in India, and what can be the right ecosystem for that. And I think for that, my next question is your company. You position yourself as a one-stop shop to fulfill all production needs of a project filming in South Asia. How has this offering been set up through local associations, partnership, and value exchange when you work with governments or you work with local associations across this region?
Yeah, so I'll come to the earlier point that India can be double for many.
Yes, we can be anywhere in the world, right? That's how we
Yes.
become the content hub of the world.
So I've done films like where we shot Afghanistan in India, where we shot Mexico in India, where we shot other part of the Asian part of the countries in India.
So tell us more. Tell us about the locations and tell us more details about this.
Yeah, so India, like first of all, when these kind of incentives are there, connecting with the last question to this one, it's become very attractive for people, not only because of the script, and they say, okay, why can't I, like, I'm supposed to go and shoot in Thailand, I'm supposed to go shoot in Sri Lanka or any other part like Australia, whatever, and say, okay, why don't I go to India? Because it's more attractive, it's easier to shoot, and there's a great crew pool in India because India makes more than 1,000 films a year. And I think we are the largest filmmaking country in the world, and we have amazing crews and more competent and hardworking and stuff. So why don't you come to India? So if we have great locations, we can pass on not only India as an India, but India can pass on with many different locations. It become more attractive. And then on top of that, ease of doing business and then government support, on top of that is very important. Then coming down to and any film coming down, and we being in business for last so many years, it's very important for us to have relationship with the government bodies like IMB ministry and local, clearance authorities and stuff. At the same time, we also have a very good relationship with all of our crew pool. So we have a crew, all the vendors, all the location people. So we don't only shoot at one place at a time, like we have shot in Kerala, Calcutta, Ladakh, Rajasthan, Goa, whatever. So we have relationship with our local, location people, local production houses there. So you have a good, those things are very important for you. Then having relationship with your vendors, like the light guys and the grip guys and the ADs and stuff. And so bringing that kind of film to India means business to everybody. And it's very important to have that kind of crew pool and that kind of vendors. We can earlier, when we used to shoot the film, we used to bring most of the crew from abroad. I'm even the light boys, and then they use containers of lights and grip equipment and stuff, and it's not happening anymore. We just come with very head of the departments. Most of the, whether it's equipment, including the cameras and lights and grip and everything, unless until it's very specific kind of equipment, you bring it from abroad, but everything is available in India. So this is very important where we are right now, that, okay, government is supporting. Of course, it has to go further on and, make much more easier for the filmmakers. And then we have great, crew. India also had great kind of ethnicities, where people look like Asians and Mexicans and Africans and stuff. So we can tap into that. And locations which can pass on to being Mexico or Thailand or Africa, whatever. I've shot Africa in India, basically. We just.
Where did you shoot it?
We shot Africa in Rajasthan. We shot Mexico in Goa. we shot, in fact, Munich in part of Goa. Like Munich, there was a German film, and we dressed it up like that, and we had some patchwork, so we did that. Yeah.
Yes, and not to mention every time your production shoots in a place, you're actually, adding to the local allied industries, right? Catering,
Absolutely.
transportation, jobs are created. This is, I think that's a really good point you made. What are the most popular locations in India for international productions with diversity in landscape, local culture? Is there also a conscious effort to promote and push more undiscovered and emerging locations in the work that you do?
Yeah, I'm like earlier, like most of the films, like India is very exotic. So lot of films earlier were coming, they were coming for like Rajasthan, like forts and palaces and this exotica, costumes, very vibrant costumes and stuff. So you get in Rajasthan. So most like, and then after that is like you come for beaches. Like India offers like everything. They have the beaches, they have the mountains, they have snow, they have forts and palaces. They have this big, mega cities like Bombay and Calcutta and Delhi. So, popular locations are Rajasthan so far. Rajasthan, your Ladakh, Goa, of course, Bombay, because it's a cosmopolitan city and a lot of stories, kind of stuff. But we also now look for like, which are the states which are like making it easy for the shoot. So Gujarat is becoming popular, like UP is doing that. People are going to now, we shot in South India as well, like Pondicherry and all of that. So we all also like say everybody was first, say for example, going to Jaipur for whatever. So now we look for the smaller cities which have equal amount of forts and palaces. Like for Indiana Jones, we took Jaisalmer. Like Jaisalmer, no big international film had gone there because of the infrastructure or whatever. But then now there are a lot of hotels and stuff. So we said to show Jaisalmer, and it's look very exotic. So we went there. There's another city called Bundi. So we were showing that. In Madhya Pradesh, we went to. So we keep looking for new locations which are which can offer the same thing or better. But deciding factor is like how's the infrastructure there, or can we like put a big crew base there, or how can we do stuff? So of course we look for the new locations right through India and South Asia. But of course, popular destination, a lot of people go to the same places. But then we, as a local and international, like on the road, is like we have a knowledge of in-depth knowledge of India and what the producer director want. We suggest them the options as well.
But have you had an experience in the last few years? Because a lot of states, like you rightly said, UP, Gujarat, everybody is now saying, "Come and shoot in my state, come and shoot in my location." Do you have any experiences where they have approached line producers like you, come and shoot, or is this your own self-discovery process?
It's both. Earlier, it used to be us. Like,
is there a marketing campaign, for example? That's what happens internationally.
Yes. So we were involved with such marketing campaign a long time back with Screen International, Hollywood Reporter, Taj was doing it, and Incredible India. So Incredible India is like the tourism body. So we did we brought Screen International people and Hollywood Reporter to come and write about India. We would feature like big ad about different part of the region, like all exotic locations in India. So each time, whether it's a Cannes Festival or a Toronto Film Festival or whatever, so we would, with the cooperation and collaboration with the Indian government, we would put these things, come and shoot in India kind of stuff. But now all these states, which are like, lately I was in Goa a few years back, and all the states were there, and they were like really actively pushing for like, marketing different states to, allowing all the producers to come and shoot in their states. And I get a lot of emails from, like, I was getting, I think from Orissa, I was getting email, then I got from Gujarat. And so people are like trying very actively to, because any film coming to any state is they don't come, they just come with a bag full of money. Of course, they need facilities and they spend all the money. So, okay, though we bring a lot of crew, but then a lot of local vendors are, get a lot of employment, whether it's a transport or hotels or catering or people like that. So yes, there are a lot of states are very actively now advertising and getting in touch with not only us but similar like production houses to invite them to come and shoot in their states.
I'm sure, Dileep, you agree that during the pandemic, what's really helped us all connect is digital, including today's conversation with you. So what, in your opinion, should locations do in that regard? I mean, is there anything digitally that they can do to improve the filming experience?
Yeah, technology is like is a very key factor right now. It's like most of the those big superhero movies you see are all the digital location. Like, not that all these superheroes going to those locations or those actions are happening in those locations, or these like blasts are happening in like middle of nowhere kind of stuff. So this is all digitally created. So it's a very big input and assisted by digital technology. Like recently we did Shantaram. Like Shantaram now, most of it was shot in Australia and in Thailand, but the whole film is based in Bombay. What we did was doing all the blue screens and driving plates and second units and plate units and all of that. And when people see, that will be seen that the whole film was shot, like most of it was shot in India. And people are like, so digital technology plays a very important role. And more so now with all these, as I said, you can be anywhere and you can shoot somewhere, and suddenly you shoot a background plate from a difficult location where you can't. And that's where I come again, that ease of doing business plays a very important role, that people are still ready to go to the real location. A lot of people, like director like Christopher Nolan, he likes to shoot on film. He want to go to a real location and want to do real stunt and stuff like that. So real location still has a lot of significance, whether it's added with technology or not, because still you have to shoot the location. So of course the technology make it easier to achieve that goal, and you can send a small team of people and shoot that location, and then compose it with the blue screen or green screen and do the whole action in front of that. So technology is very important, and it's going, as like amazes us all the time, like when we see these great films, that how did they achieve that? And that's the result of the technology. So it goes in hand very importantly. Like, but you still need the good location for that.
This whole concept of make in India and, actually showcase to the world, I think the film industry is perfectly poised for that. You just earlier mentioned Christopher Nolan. He was here many years, I think a couple of years back. And you're right, he really promotes shooting on film, but he also, believes in film archival. And I think there's so much of collaboration that can happen between India and Hollywood. You're pretty much the ambassador for that, Dileep. So thank you for that. And I think, we should continue to at least evangelize how we can make the current incentive program more competitive. And whereas certain states say that there should be locations that the filmmaker has to promote, from whatever I'm hearing from you, you should be able to shoot anything in the world right here in this country. And that's the right spirit, rather than saying, I have a particular location, a particular monument, and you need to feature that 5 times in a film, because that's not possible. Locations just complement the story, right?
Absolutely. And
so as I said, that part of the culture test has to change,
Yeah.
And competitive. Yes.
Absolutely. And there's the main thing that we can, as you said, that we can do anything in India. I want to bring one more thing that we like in India is the cost effectiveness. Like India still is one of the those rising costs, but still one of the place where you can come and shoot a film with much lesser money than rest.
Let's get into the math of this. Could you give us a ballpark indication of a percentage saving while you do the filming process is eased in India? Even if the film incentive is not that competitive enough for a very big production, you're right. I mean, there's a huge cost saving. Could you give us an indication of the percentage approximately, vis-a-vis going to say a Sri Lanka or wherever else in the region?
I'm like, we shouldn't be comparing with Sri Lanka for sure, because Sri Lanka,
yes.
Thailand, or they're the same region, but right. We have a greater infrastructure. We have a greater kind of talent pool. We have a greater crew pool. We have a lot more equipment. So India then becomes a obvious choice for a filmmaker to come here, and they can also get what they can get in Sri Lanka. They can also get what they can get in Thailand and stuff. So India becomes an obvious choice. Of course, people then go to these places for the script reason, whatever. But for if you compare with the Eastern Europe, or if you compare with Australia or Canada, or like other places, other part of the world, India definitely is like at least right from anywhere between 30 to 70% in a different category. Like, for example, crew and lightmen in India cost 1,800 rupees, whereas the other person costs like more than like $45, $50 per day. So whereas the locations are cheaper in India, some locations are very cheap in India and compared to shoot in London or Australia or whatever. So those comparisons are very vital. And I must thank like INV Ministry and FFO and of course the state governments and stuff, that they're making it like, really possible for all these filmmakers and to come and shoot. So all this is a combination of the ease of doing business with the availability of the crew and the vendors and equipment and everything, and the great location. So I think India is in a good path. We still have a lot of work to do, but I think we are like one-stop shop for a lot of filmmakers.
What's next for On the Road, and what are the projects that we can keep an eye out for, and what familiar places could we see?
Well, we just, we just finished something for Aquaman in India. So you'll see that we just, as I said, Shantram was. We shot in Rajasthan. We shot in a small village near town near Rajasthan. We did that, and we did Shantram, which was all over Bombay. A lot of stuff for 6 months, and we have a couple of projects which I can't speak right now because of the studio policy. But of course, and I'm doing 2 of my own films. One is called Jinx.
But can you talk about the locations that you're shooting? That'll be interesting. At least the states.
Yeah. So we have like location. One is of course Bombay. Because the Bombay is location, and the other one is we are still hedging between Rajasthan and kind of Madhya Pradesh. So we are going to start the location scout pretty soon, within the next month or so. I'm going to be here for another month, and then probably start the scout before even I come there. And yeah, we'll see a lot of India in those films. Yeah.
So Dileep, actually, you are the true ambassador for filming in India, and I can't thank you enough for all your support over the years. And I'm sure going forward, we're only going to expand that voice through your company and through you. Thank you so much for this discussion with Creative First.
No, thank you very much, and it's my pleasure to be here and at least share all these, beautiful ideas and stuff, and people know about it. So thank you very much for this.